All right, today we're going to be taking a look at conditional sentences in English, how we form them, and what they actually mean. And in essence, we have 4 different kinds of conditional sentences, and we divide them into 2 separate categories. In one category, we have what's known as the zero conditional and the first conditional. And in both of these cases, we think that both the condition and the outcome are real possibilities or universal truths. Let's take a look. Let's start with the sentence, if we work fast, we meet our deadlines. Here you see quite clearly we have a conditional sentence because a conditional sentence has an if clause and a main clause. This if clause establishes the condition, and the main clause is only valid when the condition in the if clause has been met. So let's take a look again. If we work fast, we meet our deadlines. My feeling here is that this is universally true. Whenever you work fast, you meet your deadlines. That applies to everyone. Always. And notice how we're doing it. We've got the if clause, and what verb form do you see in that if clause? Exactly, that is the present simple. And why do I use the present simple? Well, one of the reasons is if I want to show that something is true, or that something repeats itself over and over again. So, that's the zero conditional. If we work fast, we meet our deadlines. We also have the first conditional. It changes just a little bit in the main clause. If we work fast, we will meet our deadline. Now, in this case, I'm not necessarily talking about something that I believe is universally true, but only true in this particular set of circumstances. So I believe it is a realistic expectation. I believe that we can work faster, and the result of our working faster will be that we meet our deadline. And look how it's made. It's the same as the zero conditional. If we work fast, there's your present simple. And now in the main clause, we're using the will future. So keep in mind, the zero conditionals are always true. They're sort of universal. The first conditionals are true, or we use them for a real present and a real future, things that we think can happen or will happen. Now let's move over to the second half, the right half of our diagram. We've got the second conditional. If we worked fast, we would meet our deadline. Now, what in the world does that actually mean? What it means is that I don't believe we can work fast enough to meet our deadline, and I'm imagining a different present that would have a different result in the future. And I know you're probably looking at it and you're saying to yourself, but I've got an if clause and I've got the past simple. If we worked fast, we would meet our deadline. That's the past simple, Eric. How can you tell me that that is a present and a future? Now, it's not really the past simple. It's a subjunctive, but in English, the subjunctive form has taken on, historically, the exact form of the past simple, with the exception of the verb to be. But we'll get to that in a moment. And what I'm doing by using this past simple, I'm not putting it in the past. I'm taking it away from what I think is real. I'm saying that I don't believe that this is real. That's the nuance of this. If we worked fast, we would meet our deadline. Well, the fact of the matter is we're not working fast, and so we probably won't meet our deadline. But if that were different, if we worked fast, we would meet our deadline. It's something that I believe is improbable, bordering sometimes on impossible, an impossible future. Now, the last conditional that we're going to talk about is the third conditional. And watch what happens here. If we had worked fast, we would have met our deadline. What do I have in this if clause? I've got a past perfect. And what do I have in my main clause? I've got would plus a past participle infinitive, which essentially just means have plus the third form of the verb. If we had worked fast, we would have met our deadline. Now, in this case, I'm imagining a different situation in the past, which is by definition impossible. You can't go back into the past and change things. So this third conditional marks really an impossible situation. So second conditionals are for an unreal present and an unreal future, because I don't believe that these things are going to happen or that these things will happen. And the third conditional, that's used for an impossible past. I can't go back into the past and change it, but I can imagine that if I had done something differently in my life, things would have been different. And that is more or less a brief overview of conditionals. And next time you see me in class, don't forget to ask me about mixed conditionals. I don't really want to present it as a fourth conditional because it's not. It's a mixture of second and third conditionals. All right, so I'll put some additional exercises and examples up on our Moodle site and let you play around with those. Good luck.